Welcome everyone to this presentation on thinking like a winner, and I promise you this mental framework will forever change your life. So let's go. The promise that I make you is that this video will change your life, the way you look at things. This is the way that most successful people think. If I knew this information 5 years ago, I would be at a 100 times better spot. And after watching this presentation, you will wish so too. You will literally be like, damn, wish I had this information 5 years ago. But you know that saying, right? The best time to do something was 5 years ago, and the second best time to do something is now. So, well, you're getting the information now. And you will make more progress in 6 months than the average person will make in 5 years. And in any realm of human endeavor, meaning if it's entrepreneurship that you're looking at, it's athletics, it's being a high-end engineer, or whatever it is that you want to be, this is a universal framework for success. Like, the topics that I'm about to explain are a bit complex, but trust me, by the end of this presentation, they will be hammered down into your brain. They will be etched into your brain, and you can start using it from day one, and you can start seeing results from day bloody one. So why listen to me? Why listen to this stranger on the internet? This handsome, this dashing stranger on the internet. Let's go. So who was I? Look, my grades were trash. I was not a very smart student. And my physique was trash, as you can see. I was not very athletic either. My mental health was trash. I was depressed and I had crippling anxiety. So I was just this depressed, anxious, confused person with no natural talents or ability. Like, I wasn't super smart, I wasn't gifted at athletics. I pretty much sucked at every single thing that I did, even when I worked incredibly hard. So that was me, total loser. And this is like 4 or 5 years ago. I was a complete loser like 4 or 5 years ago. And who am I now? I was one of the top performing students in my bachelor's program, straight A's. One of the top performing students in my master's program, again straight A's. And one of the toughest disciplines, that was software engineering. And additionally, I got these straight A's while working full time as an intern. I was a software engineer at Fortune 500 companies like Dell, AMD, Synopsys. Additionally, I had a decent physique and I was pursuing martial arts, and I had a rigorous schedule. I was quite disciplined. And quite recently, I launched my business at the age of 26. So these are my accolades. I hope this lends some credibility to the words that I'm going to say now. So let me just diagnose my life right in front of you. Why did I exactly suck? Why did I previously suck at everything that I did, even though I worked really hard? Like, I was not naturally talented, but I had one thing. Like, I had a chip on my shoulder. I wanted to do something. I wanted like recognition. I wanted to improve, but I still didn't. So let's diagnose why exactly did I suck. I sucked because I did not follow the meta. And what do you mean by meta? So meta is shorthand for most effective tactic available. Everything in your life, everything in life has a meta. Everything. Think about bodybuilding, boxing, engineering, entrepreneurship, running, recovering from addiction. All these things in life have a most effective tactic available. Like, think about running, for example. If I ask you, hey buddy, what's the meta for running? Like, and you saw a guy hop on one leg, you'd be like, this guy's crazy, bro. He's not using the most effective tactic available to actually run, which is like you're running with both your feet. So this is like a very, very basic example that I'm giving you. He's doing a lot of hard work. That guy who's hopping, he's doing a lot of hard work, putting in a lot of time and energy, but he's not yielding the results necessary because he's not following the meta. And this concept of just using raw hard work to accomplish your goals, it's old school, it's outdated. And if you adhere to that psychology, if you adhere to that mindset alone, that I'm just going to do brute force this thing, I'm just going to use hard work, you're not going to make it. You're going to burn out, and you're going to have mediocre results. So meta refers to the way of doing things such that they yield the most results with the least effort. This is the new secret to success. Meta. Everything has a meta. Now, the reason why I sucked at bodybuilding was because I was literally running 5 kilometers a day while doing my bodybuilding workout. Any gains that I had, I just melted them away. I was literally in under calorie deficit. I thought I could get the best of both worlds. I thought I could do everything together. No, I couldn't. I did not have the right meta for bodybuilding. Therefore, I never made any gains. Like, I was lifting for 2+ years and people used to come and ask me, hey bro, do you even lift? What exactly do you do in the gym? Do you just like sit in the air conditioning and then just come out? So it was quite embarrassing. Additionally, I sucked at YouTube. Like, this is the third time I'm making a YouTube channel. My first two channels, I just deleted them because I was not getting the results. I didn't know how to design a video. I didn't know how to write a script. I didn't know how to make a good thumbnail. I had no meta for it. I was just like winging it. Just started a new activity and I knew nothing about it, and I was just learning on the job. Had no meta. No meta is equal to failure. So how do you exactly get this thing, this magical thing called the meta, the right way of doing something? Firstly, every domain has a meta. Every single domain, whether it's like real estate, whether it's software engineering, anything in life has a meta, and you need to learn that meta from a guy who has already accomplished a lot in that particular field. Learn from the guy that has already done it. Now, how can you learn from him? In the form of books, podcasts, courses, in the form of long form content. Sort of similar to this. This is long form content. If you're watching videos that are like a minute long, 30-second long, 3 minutes long, it's not going to give you much value. It's these long form of largely unedited form of content that is going to give you a lot of value. It's going to reveal to you a lot of metas about various aspects of life. Additionally, don't listen to every guy, of course. Needless to say, filter out guys who are just selling you something, or BS guys versus guys who have legit accomplished things. So this can be tough, bro, because you have to filter out what gurus that you're following. Right? There are a lot of guys who just want to attain an audience and just sell them something shitty, right? I'm not particularly against courses, but they have to be worth it. They have to be like absolutely quality. Once I discovered the meta to bodybuilding, YouTube, and entrepreneurship, I became much better at them. Yes, that is absolutely correct. So in terms of bodybuilding, firstly, I stopped doing cardio. I stopped trying to achieve the best of both worlds. I mean, I did some cardio, but not to the extent where I was providing my body with like two different kinds of stimulus. Like, I was asking it to gain and bulk and put on size while asking it to shred it all out, confusing my body. In terms of YouTube, I seriously took YouTube very seriously. Like, I had a script designed, I had thumbnail designed, I read books on YouTube. There's this book called The YouTube Formula. I understood how the algorithm works. I learned from the best, and I understood the meta for YouTube. I really took that meta very seriously, and I saw a lot of improvements in these domains. Almost instantly, once I got to know the meta, my efforts were like being captured in a sense and not being just wasted. The purpose of this video is to give you the meta for life. Now, this is not a domain specific meta. This is the meta for life. This is the most general meta. Like, you can apply it in anything, any realm of like even bodybuilding, entrepreneurship, engineering, you name it, this meta will work. This is the general meta. The most effective tactic available that you can apply to any domain of life. You see, most people are actually linear thinkers. They think linearly of the task at hand. They have a tunnel vision. They are micro level thinkers and are very implementation oriented. Now, whenever I say this, you should imagine this office employee just working on his task at hand. The software engineer who is just coding up whatever he has to do for the day. The average software engineer, the average guy who trains sport. Let's say this guy is just looking at his next workout session. He's just in the gym and going through the motion and just doing stuff and sweating it out. The average businessman who is just attending his next meeting. And the average YouTuber who's just busy making his next video. All of these guys are very linear thinkers. They do not care what is going on outside this particular activity that they are doing. They do not understand how this activity is connected to the bigger picture, how this activity is part of a much bigger system. You will forever live a mediocre life if you follow this approach, if you're a linear thinker, if all what you're doing is attending to the task that has just shown up at your doorstep. Because 99% of the individuals around you are doing just that. Literally, 99% of the individuals are just doing the next task that is available. The meta for life, the cheat code for attaining anything in life, is systems level thinking. It's a bird's eye view of the task that you're doing at hand. And then you need to ask this question to yourself. How is what I'm doing related to the overall system? Whenever you think of a task in terms of a system, you have to ask yourself, what are the various components to this thing and how do they interact with each other? Now, before you dive into something specific, you should have a map of that thing. Like, how does that thing connect to other things? Right now, I know it's hard to understand. I know. I'll give you a lot of examples and I'll crystallize this idea completely. So everything has a system. Like the best software engineers think about how various pieces of code interact with other pieces of software. They have the mental big picture in mind. So let's say some guy who's coding up something called Microsoft Word, for example. Now a linear level thinker will just think of one particular feature and will go dive into it and start implementing it. Something like, how do I get my keystrokes captured on the screen? A linear level thinker would only concern himself with that particular feature of the software, whereas a systems level thinker will see everything. Like he will see all the various components within that program and see how would perhaps this particular feature affect the other features. So he has a systemic overview, he has a bird's eye view of the entire operation. He is not just concerned with implementing one thing. He wants to visualize the entire system before he starts implementing one particular feature. I have been someone who's been practicing Muay Thai, kickboxing. I've dabbled with it. I'm not pretty good at it, but I understand that even the art of Muay Thai or kickboxing or boxing has a system. It is a system pretty much. And the key components of this system, for example, are skill, conditioning, and psychology. Now skill refers to your ability to throw punches and kicks. Your technique. Conditioning refers to your endurance, your strength, your power, your speed. And psychology refers to how you pretty much think as a fighter. Do you give up easily under pressure? Now once you look at things from a systems level point of view, you can train all these components. Like right now, this thing that I am doing is composed of 4 to 5 different components. Each component is sort of different from the other, and now I can put the emphasis and I can consciously train all these 5 different components, rather than me just being a linear thinker and showing up to a class and hoping and praying that all these components are trained. This is the key difference between a systems level thinker and a linear thinker. Let me give you another example, and this time in the domain of entrepreneurship. Let's say there's a businessman and he's a linear thinker. He redoes his ad. He has an ad campaign going on. He's trying to get clients, but he's like, you know what? I'm going to change something about this ad. And he changes some things about this ad and he gets a lot more clients. He attracts a lot more clients. And now he's happy. But turns out the overall sales reduce. Even though he's getting more eyes, more people clicking on his ad, his overall sales have reduced. Why is that? The reason is because he's a linear thinker. He only saw the first stage of his funnel. He only saw how to get more people to click on his ads. He did not see the other details of the funnel. Like, what sort of clients is he attracting? Are these people who have the intention of buying his products, or are these people who are just interested in the ad? They were allured to it. But a systems level thinker would probably understand that a funnel is not just the first step of getting someone to click. It's rather to build the psychology of the person. It's rather to get the right person to click, and that would lead to a better lead. And that is the difference between linear entrepreneur and a systems level entrepreneur. The systems level entrepreneurs understand every component of his business and how they interact with one another. So when you think in terms of system, your aim becomes to make overall progress rather than component optimization. For example, this entrepreneur was just focused on one particular component of his business, that is advertisements, right? He was not concerned with how this component impacted the overall system. Him hyper focusing on just getting more clicks actually damaged the quality of the overall system. And this is what a lot of the linear thinkers do. They hyper focus on one particular component because they are not aware of other components in this overall system, and they optimize for it, and then it turns out the overall system has poorer performance even after all the hard work that they have actually done. Let's discuss the blunders of this approach, this linear thinking. Like I mentioned, trying to over-optimize one component of the system while undermining the other components of the system, and thus leading to poorer overall performance. A personal example from my own life, back when I was doing Muay Thai, I was like, you know what? Size and strength are really important in Muay Thai. Like, the bigger you are, the stronger you are, it's better, right? You can push people around, it's healthier, better in the clinch. What I started doing was I over-optimized these traits in my Muay Thai journey, right? I was not a systems level thinker. I didn't know there were other components and they had effect on each other. There was a relationship between the components. I just thought linearly. I was like, you know what, this thing is good, let me just put all my time and effort into these things. Now I became big and strong, but holy shit, I became slow. My cardio went off, I had no speed, and my overall Muay Thai abilities suffered. I became a shittier Muay Thai fighter, even though I put so much time and effort into gaining all that strength and size. And this is what a lot of linear level thinkers are doing. They do not understand that the thing that they're doing is a massive system. It's a science. There's a method to this madness. And all these components interact with each other and impact the overall system differently. Let me give you another blunder that linear thinking does. They give too much time and energy to the wrong components. Not every component of your system gives equal results. Now, for this example, I want you to consider like a power lifter, like a jacked guy. He is training for a powerlifting competition. Now, this is the system that we have broken down powerlifting into, right? This is like a very basic breakdown. The powerlifting is composed of, well, lifting weights to get stronger, right? And then there's a recovery aspect to powerlifting, and then you need like some amount of cardio so that you're just healthy. You can train longer in the gym, etc., etc. It's not you see, it does not impact the overall system all that much. The larger the circle, the more impact that this activity has on the overall system. Now, what if some power lifter decides, you know what, I'm gonna run like 5k 10k every single day. I am just going to over optimize for this tiny component, which yields very tiny results in my overall performance. How do you think his competition would go? He would probably suck. He would probably suck because he has neglected the high value components. He has neglected the components which have high weightage and only put all his efforts in the components that have tiny weightage. Of course, there's some improvement that he might have in his gym performance, but it's not going to be that much, right? Because this does not amount to much. This does not weigh that much in this activity. And this is what I was doing for my YouTube channel as well. Let's say this big circle was your thumbnail and this smaller circle was your script, and perhaps this was like replying to comments or promoting your video or whatever nonsense. I was like spending 90 or perhaps 80% of my time into this, just trying to answer comments, trying to promote my video, send to my folks on WhatsApp or Facebook groups. It was pretty stupid. I saw no results. So this is another advantage of systems level thinking. When you break something down into a system, it allows you to discover high weightage tasks, and it also allows you to discover new metas. Holy shit, I butchered the spelling of new, but okay. It allows you to discover new most effective tactics. It's only when you can see things from a bird's eye view can you develop metas to it, can you develop a most effective tactic to it, can you identify what regions are the highest weightage and what regions deserve most of your time and attention. Not every component deserves your time and attention equally. Not every task yields equal results. Not every task impacts the overall system equally. Now look, all this theory was pretty much good. This talk of metas and this talk of systems level thinking, it's all very fancy and it's all very good. But here is what I want you to do. I want you to take action right now. Like, you literally sit down and write down what are your goals for the season, right? Note them down, and 1 or 2 goals at max, because you can't pursue everything. You can't become perfect at everything. You can't master everything, right? You can't have like 4 or 5 goals and spread yourself too thin. No, select 1 to 2 goals at max for this particular season, for this particular month or something like that. And now you need to ask yourself the following questions. Do you have a systems level understanding of the domain? Do you? Let's say your goal is like you want to put on like 5 kgs or 10 pounds of muscle, or let's say your goal is to perhaps ace this software engineering interview and get a job at Google, Facebook, whatever. Or your dream could be like you want to start your own business. Ask yourself, do you have a systems level understanding of that domain, or are you just linearly doing the tasks as they come along? If the answer is yes, you have a systems level understanding. Hey, amazing, absolutely great. Maybe draw that system out and keep it on a board or something. If you do not have a systems level understanding, that means there is a knowledge gap. you need to fill this knowledge gap with books, podcasts, articles, and courses from experts. Now, this does not mean, hey man, you just need to learn everything about it. No, you just need to learn enough such that you have a systems level understanding, such that you're at least aware of what are the other components in this system, right? You can have a bird's eye view. You can describe it generally. Once you have done that, now you need to ask yourself, do you have the meta and the high weightage components? Have you identified the high weightage components of the system, like the big circles in this system that yield the most results? Have you identified them? If the answer is yes, and you be consistent and you put your time and effort into these big components, you will see results. All you have to do is now be consistent. All you have to do is like wake up, whether you're tired, sick, depressed, anxious, and put in the time and effort into those big circles, pretty much like a zombie, like a robot. If you have not identified what components give the most results, or what is the right way of, let's say, performing in this domain, the meta to this domain, the most effective tactic available for this domain, if the answer is no, fill the knowledge gap once again. You need to do more reading. You need to identify the meta. You need to do trial and error. So that was it, folks. I hope this presentation helps you. I understand like you might have to rewatch this or watch a particular section of it, but trust me, when you start thinking of everything that you do in terms of meta, the most effective tactic available for that thing, and in terms of systems level thinking, like breaking that thing down into its true components and seeing what are the high weightage components and how do these components interact with each other. Once you start breaking things down into this fashion, trust me, you're going to save so much time and effort. Like literally, I wasted like 5 years into domains without getting any results, but now I get results in months. So I hope this video helps, guys, and if you subscribe to the channel or like the video, that helps a lot. That's like the meta for YouTube. Yeah. Goodbye.